Okay, today we're changing a thermostat on a 2000 Chevy S10. I have already done some of this stuff. As you can see, I have already taken the top fan shroud off, the top radiator hose, go right through here, back over here to the thermostat housing. This is still the old thermostat inside here. Haven't gotten to that yet. You'll first want to drain your radiator fluid. Already done. And take the pressure cap off, wait for it to cool down so it doesn't spray everywhere. There's a petcock down here, right here, right there. There's the petcock. You want to twist this open. This is a newer radiator I put in back during the summer, so this petcock just twists back. Some of the older styles are kind of a pain in the ass to do, but this one's not bad. It's, like I said, a new radiator, so it just twists back to the left. You can drain it that way. You don't have to take it all the way out if you don't want to. I didn't. That's what all this down through here is. The blue image right down here in my bucket, I caught a little bit of the radiator fluid as it came out. Went ahead and disassembled everything. I am in the process of cleaning the thermostat housing, and I'll get back to you in a bit. Okay, here's the thermostat housing. I had already taken it off. This is what it looked like when I took it off. It wasn't too bad. I'm going to try to clean this stuff up a little bit. Could not find my gasket scraper, but some of the thermostats you might be working with will take a gasket that goes around this outer edge of the hole on this housing. This one did not. But I'm going to try to clean up a little bit around here, around the outer edge of this circle. All I have to work with right now, since I cannot find my gasket scraper, is this, an old paint scraper. I would recommend, if you have a gasket scraper, to use a gasket scraper. I'm not going to scrape hard on this by any means. Just kind of loosen some of this dark debris right around in here. And I'll take a rag and clean that up. Make sure it's clean before you put it back on. If you can't get it all, it's probably good enough. The new thermostat comes with a rubber seal. Just a second. Your thermostats will come in a box like this. This came from O'Reilly's. It's a Murray brand. If you go to AutoZone, it will be a different brand. But it's basically the same thermostat. I worked at a company that put these in the boxes and packaged them. This is the rubber seal here where my thumb is that I'm talking about. That's a self-sealing rubber seal on both sides. That's why these do not require a gasket on the thermostat housing. It will go in like this when it's assembled. But like I said, I'm going to clean this housing up first and I'll get back with you. Okay, we are back. Gasket scraper, like I said, is not the recommended tool to clean these housings. You can get a gasket scraper at any auto parts store. Sometimes you can find them in a Walmart, Menards, Lowe's, any hardware store. As you can see a little bit on it. I ended up here we go. At least I'm not farting like some people do on these videos. I ended up taking a steel wool pad and lightly brushed it and got the surface to where it was smoother. I did not worry about getting the darker stuff off. It's a smooth surface, and that's what you want, is a smooth surface to seal when you bolt the housing back on. It's a little shiny inside that hole. Using the steel wool pad, I ended up running some water over this and cleaned it off. You don't have to worry about the inside being completely dry when you put it back together, because it's going to have the antifreeze flowing through it anyway. As you can see, that little mark on the little lower left hand side, I just barely got it with a paint scraper. Like I said, I'd recommend gasket scraper. I don't think it's going to hurt it. The seal goes over that part, and I'm just going to put it back together. I believe it'll be just fine. Okay, before I go into description here, I want to apologize. This is the first time I've tried one of these videos, and I don't know how my sound is, if you can hear me very well. I don't have a tripod like some of these guys I've seen have videos on YouTube, but I'm giving this a shot. Like I said, this is the first time I've tried this, so I hope it works. Okay, here's what I'm replacing. This thermostat. And as you can see right here, when I pulled the housing off, the rubber seal came up a little bit. I mean, for the most part, the seal I don't think was leaking. It looks a little bit more damaged as I pulled the housing off, but I have a new seal with the new thermostat I'm putting on, so I'm not worried about that. This thermostat, what you are looking at, has over 245,500 miles on it, and that is way too many miles for one thermostat. This thermostat was going to be replaced about a year or so ago. I got busy and I never got around to doing it. So basically, you just pull this old thermostat out, and I've got a pair of pliers here. They're not what I was looking for, but these will work. You just grab it like that and pull it out. Okay, that is one old looking, junky looking thermostat. It's had a long life, especially with the radiator I had running in this thing for so long. Like I said, I got a new radiator now, so. Well, okay, looks like we're recording again. Okay, so I went ahead and I took the old seal off, and didn't get that on the video, but that's self-explanatory. I went ahead and wiped down the housing with an old towel, shop towel. The orange down in there, you can see the Dex Cool antifreeze sitting there. When you get this back together, that's where your antifreeze will run back into the engine block at. Helps keep your engine cool. So I ended up wiping out the inside. Try not to get that junk down in there. You can put a rag, or clean rag, or a clean towel down in there and probably get it out if that happens, but I wouldn't recommend even trying it in the first place. But I didn't get anything down in there. I got all the junk out, got my finger back in there and swept it back towards the outside of the housing. Then I put a towel in there and wiped it down. I'm going to go ahead and put this housing back on, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back a little bit sooner than I expected. I forgot. Just thought I'd show this to you. When you go to get a new thermostat, you'll need your vehicle year, make, model. They should have it in the computer when you go to order your part, but I'm just going to show this to you before I put it back on. This is a 195 degree thermostat. As you can see on the bottom, it's printed or stamped 195F for 195 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you're not sure, you might want to check your part before you put it back on. I'm going to go ahead and put this on, and I will get back with you guys. Okay, so I got the thermostat housing bolted back on. Did not put the top radiator hose back on just yet. You can put it on beforehand when you put the thermostat housing back on, or you can put it on afterwards. In this case, you just slide it back onto the other end of the thermostat housing. Got my clamp over here, so I'm going to clamp that down, and I will be back with you guys again. Okay, I'm back. So I got the clamp moved over back into place. You'll need to take pliers unless your fingers are strong enough to squeeze this together. Right here my finger is and right here my thumb is. You'll squeeze that together. That'll loosen that clamp. You can slide it back off the end of where the housing is. In this case, about right here, into the housing. I slid it back into place right up to where it was at before I took it off. It's exactly back into place. This is where it had come to before I took it apart. So I put it right back together where it was at. The clamp is back in right in the indentions of the hose where it had been. You might want to feel underneath here and make sure it feels okay, before you go ahead and put everything back together. Just make sure it's good and tight. It's good and tight. And on the hose it'll say ENG, and that's the end of the hose that goes towards the engine. The next step, I'm going to put the fan shroud back on. Right down in here. As you can see, this nut down here, I just put a brand new fan clutch on last week. I was going to make a video for it, but it was in the teens when I was out here and it was snowing. I didn't feel like trying to make a video. Just wanted to get it put back together. It was getting dark. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the fan shroud back on, and I'll be back. Okay, so the fan shroud has been slid back under these AC hoses, and you just kind of lift them up and work this fan shroud back in there until it's underneath them. It's not bolted back in yet. I wanted to show you something, but when you do put this fan shroud back on, you want it to set right down on top of this piece on top of the radiator. This little piece here will set right down in there. Hard to do with holding my phone too, but it will set right down on top of that, just like that. And that pulls the radiator back and holds it. And you'll want to do that on the other side as well. And then you just, here and there, 2 bolts on each side. You put those bolts back in, tighten them down, and the fan shroud will be on.